Hello students of Standard 7. Welcome to today's virtual class of Geography, and today we are going to read about one important lesson, that is Africa, location, political divisions and physical features. So as we know that the earth is comprised of 29% of land and 71% of water bodies. So these water bodies are broadly divided into four major oceans, whereas this 29% of the earth is divided into seven major continents, and according to the area the continents are like this. The largest is Asia, followed by Africa, then we have North America, then we have South America, followed by Europe, then we have Antarctica and Australia as the smallest continent. So here we go with the second largest continent, that Africa, in detail, and we're going to read about its location, political divisions and physical features. So as I have told you that it is the second largest continent, covering 1/5 of the Earth's surface. So this continent is regarded as, once it was considered as a dark continent, as it remained unexplored until the middle of the 19th century. So reasons why it remained unexplored, or the reasons for its exploration, late exploration, that we'll discuss later. So coming to the location of this continent, so this continent, so when we say about the, or when we discuss about the location of a place, generally we go for the latitudinal and longitudinal constitution. So this latitudinal and longitudinal extent of Africa is like this. It extends from 37 degrees north to 35 degrees south, and longitudinally it extends from 17 degrees west to 51 degree east. This is the latitudinal and longitudinal extension of this continent. So as I have told you that it is extended from 37 degrees north to 35 degrees south. So the major lines of latitude, that is the equator or the 0 degree at the center, then we have the Tropic of Cancer, that is 23.5 degree north, and the Tropic of Capricorn, that is 23.5 degree south latitude. All these three major lines of latitude are passing through this continent, and it is the only continent through which this concept happens, that is, which is crossed by the three major lines of latitude. So next we are coming to the surrounding seas and oceans of this continent. As I have told you, we have discussed the important lines of latitude passing through the continent. Coming to the boundaries or the surrounding seas and oceans. So if you see the map of Africa, or if you refer your atlas, there you can see the water bodies that are surrounding the continent. That is, the northern part of the continent is covered by the Mediterranean Sea. Here you can see over the map, Mediterranean Sea is covering to the north, or it is to the north of Africa. Then to the northeast we have the Red Sea. Here you can see the Red Sea. Then to the east we have the Indian Ocean. Then to the west we have the Atlantic Ocean, and to its south we have the Southern Ocean, parts of the Southern Ocean. So these are the surrounding water bodies of Africa. So major water bodies are surrounding the continent, and besides we have two straits, that is separating the mainland of Africa from other continents. So here one concept comes to our mind. What is a strait? So a strait is a narrow arm of water that connects two water bodies and divides two land masses. So here in Africa we have, to the north of Africa and to the northeast of Africa, we have two straits, that is the Strait of Gibraltar to the northern part of Africa, linking the Mediterranean Sea with the Atlantic Ocean and separating the mainland of Africa from Europe. Then we have another strait to the northeastern part of Africa, that is the Strait of Bab el Mandeb, which is connecting the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden and separating Africa from the mainland of Arabia. So these are the water bodies that are there present in and around the dark continent or the continent of Africa. Besides, we have another landmass, that is an isthmus is there. So what is an isthmus? It is unlike a strait. Isthmus is just opposite to a strait, where a strait links two water bodies and separates two land masses, and isthmus links two land masses and separates two water bodies. So here in Africa, we have to the northeastern part of Africa, we have the Isthmus of Suez, that is linking the mainland of Africa with Asia, and we have the Suez Canal here dug within the Isthmus of Suez, that is a link between the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. The surrounding water bodies or the surrounding seas and oceans, as well as the straits and the isthmus that is present in and around the continent. So next we go to so as I was telling you that once it was considered as a dark continent because it remained unexplored until the middle of the 19th century. So here we go for discussing the reasons why Africa remained unexplored until a longer period of time or until a later period of time. So there are many reasons for it is being discovered later. So what are the reasons? The reasons are because of the vast Sahara Desert to the north of the continent. Then Africa is covered with dense forest. It has a hot and damp climatic condition or unhealthy weather condition. Then the rivers, though there are rivers, number of rivers in Africa, they are not navigable. So why they are not navigable? Because the rivers have rapids and waterfall, as the coastal regions of Africa are steeply descending down, resulting into the formation of these rapids and waterfalls. So this is another reason why the explorers could not reach to the mainland of the continent. Besides, another important reason for being discovered later, that is the local tribes who were hostile to the foreigners. So these are the reasons why Africa remained unexplored until the middle of the 19th century. So, and that is why it is considered as a dark continent. So this continent is also called, in Greeks called it without a continent, without cold. That means, as I have told you, the three important lines of latitude are passing through the continent, as a result of which the vertical rays falls over a greater part of the continent almost throughout the year. That is, or we can say the sun shines here most of the year, because of which the Greeks call it without cold, or it is one of the hottest continents. So next we come to the physical divisions of this continent. This continent is broadly divided into 6 physical divisions. The first one, or the first physical division, is the desert region. As we know that Africa, vast stretches of Africa is covered with desert, and here we have almost the northern part of this continent, which is covered with the largest desert of the world, that is the Sahara Desert, stretching from Red Sea in the east to the Atlantic Ocean in the west. And this desert covers 1/3 of the total land of this continent, and this desert has a uniform surface. And besides this Sahara Desert, in the southern part of the continent we have 2 other deserts, or 2 other important deserts, like the Kalahari Desert and the Namib Desert. So this is the most important physical division of Africa, that is desert regions, which is composed of three major deserts. That is the largest in the world, or we call it the Sahara Desert. Then we have the Kalahari and the Namib Desert. So besides the desert region, we have other physical divisions of Africa. Then we are coming to the second physical division, that is the plateaus. So unlike the deserts, Africa, a major part of the continent, is also covered with plateaus, and these plateaus are composed of crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rocks, extending from northern Sahara Desert in the west to Guinea coast or the mainland of Somalia in the east, and the slope of this plateau is higher in south and lower towards the north. So as we move from south to north, it has a comparatively lower slope, that is the height of the land decreases from the south to the north in case or in the regions of Africa which is covered with the plateaus. Next we are coming, children, to the third physical division of Africa, that is the lowlands and basins. So before going to the lowlands and basins of Africa, first we should have the knowledge of what are lowlands and basins. So the regions which are having a comparatively level land and generally where there are presence of number of rivers, those regions are considered as the lowlands and basins. So unlike other regions of the world, here in Africa also we have a number of rivers. So those rivers are forming number of valleys and basins. So among those rivers, as we know, one of the most important rivers of the world, that is river Nile, which is considered as the longest river of the world, that is a part of Africa, and it is forming the Nile basins. Besides, we have the Congo basin, we have the Congo or the Zaire basin, then we have the inland drainage basin, which is termed as Lake Chad basin. Then we have another important river, that is the Niger river, forming the Niger basin, and most of these, among these river basins, most of them are inland drainage basins. So what are these inland drainage basins? So inland drainage means where the rivers flow in the mainland and they do not get an access to the seas and oceans. That means they don't have enough water or sufficient water to reach to the seas and oceans. So in this case, what happens? The water of the river, instead of getting connected to the seas and oceans, they get drained under the ground. So that is known as a inland drainage. So this is the reason why this part, especially the Lake Chad basin, then the Niger basin, these regions of Africa are considered as the inland drainage basins. Then we have another important physical division of Africa, that is the mountain. So Africa may be one of the unique or maybe one of the most important continents where we get different types of mountains. So we have read in the previous classes, based on the formation, process of formation, we categorize the mountains into different types. So different types of mountains exist in Africa, beginning from the very fold mountains to the volcanic mountains. So we have Africa, we have fold mountains, we have residual mountains, we have block mountains, and we have also these fold mountains, both young fold as well as old fold mountains. So number of mountains are there present in Africa. Besides the mountains, different types of mountains also we have the Rift Valley, which is also a part of covering a major part of the continent. So about this Rift Valley we'll read later. We are going to discuss, as it is also an important part of the physical divisions. So here we have both young fold as well as old fold mountains. So discussing about the young fold and old fold mountains, we should have the knowledge about the definition of this young fold and as well as the old fold mountains. So these young fold mountains, what are the young fold mountains? Mountains that are formed in the recent years, or in the recent past years, they are termed as the young fold mountains, whereas the mountains that are formed long back and they went through continuous erosional activities leading to decrease in their height, they are termed as the old fold mountain. So the basic difference between the old fold mountains and the young fold mountains is the young fold mountains are comparatively higher than that of the old fold mountains, because the old fold mountains are prone to continuous erosional activity. So in this context, we have the famous Atlas mountain to the northwest of Africa, which is one example of young fold mountain, can be compared to the mountains, Himalayan ranges and the Alps in Europe. So under the block mountains that are present in Africa, we have Mount Rwenzori is an example, best example of block mountains. Then more as Ethiopian highlands, that is lying to the northeastern part of, sorry, to the southeastern part of this continent. This has the volcanic mountains. So here another concept comes. What are volcanic mountains? The mountains that are formed due to volcanic eruptions, they are termed as the volcanic mountains. So under these volcanic mountains are lying quite close to the Rift Valley of Africa, among which Mount Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain peak in Africa. So besides, I have also told you, we have another type of mountain in Africa, that is the residual mountains. So under these residual mountains, we can give the examples of Ahagar mountain and the Tibesti plateau in North Africa are the examples of these residual mountains. So this is all about the fourth physical division of Africa, that is the mountains. Next we are coming another unique physical feature of Africa, that is the Rift Valley, which is one of the most prominent physical features of Africa. So what is a Rift Valley? It's a long narrow valley with steep sides. So how these valleys are formed? Generally rift valleys are formed due to the sinking of land between two faults. So here we have the Rift Valley, which is considered as a unique feature of Africa with a length of 6,440 kilometers from Red Sea to river Zambezi. And it has steep sides which are called the block mountains. Also the Rift Valley has number of lakes within it. The Lake Rukwa, Lake Tanganyika and Lake Malawi are a part of this Rift Valley. Besides these lakes, the Rift Valley has also Lake Victoria and Lake Chad. This Lake Victoria, among the lakes, only Lake Rukwa, Lake Tanganyika and Lake Malawi are a part of the Rift Valley, whereas Lake Victoria and Lake Chad are not a part of the Rift Valley, but they are a part of Africa. Then coming to the last physical division, that is drainage. So under this drainage, Africa has nearly 1/3 of Africa has no direct drainage to the sea. What we are discussing regarding the basins, river valleys and basins, there we are discussing that we have two types of drainage. One is meeting the seas and oceans, other one is the one that is which is known as the direct drainage. and other one is the inland drainage, when the rivers they do not get any access to the seas and to meet the seas and oceans, as a result of which they sit under the ground, resulting into inland drainage. So here we have the drainage system. One third has no direct drainage to the sea. So we have river Nile, as I have told you, originating from Lake Victoria and flowing towards the in Ethiopian highlands it is originating from, and flowing towards the north of Africa. It is a combination of two tributaries, that is Blue Nile and White Nile, and before it is draining to the Mediterranean Sea. Before draining into the Mediterranean Sea, it forms one of the largest deltas of the world, and it is because of this Nile delta that people could live in Egypt, or Egypt could be inhabited because of the fertile tract due to the presence of the Nile delta. Then besides this basin, we have river Zaire or Congo. It is a river of Central Africa, and the unique feature of this river is it is crossing the equator 2 times, and this river has number of falls and rapids. Hence I have told you from the beginning that presence of falls and rapids make rivers unsuitable for navigation, and it has the tributaries like Ubangi and Kasai. Besides this Zaire basin or the Congo basin, Africa also has the river Niger, and it has also river Zambezi with their tributaries. So besides these rivers, it has also number of lakes, and under the main lakes of this continent we have Lake Victoria, Lake Chad, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Nasser and Lake Kariba. And this among these lakes, the last, that is Lake Kariba, is an artificial lake along with Lake Nasser and Lake Kariba. These are the artificial lakes, whereas the other lakes are the natural lakes. This is all about this continent, or the dark continent, or we can say the second largest continent of the earth. Thank you.